I am Ernest A. Kunkler, one of the first doctors here in Hangtown. Now, I came from Switzerland in 1849 along with my wife Amanade and my son John. Now, shortly arriving from Europe, we set our eyes on California and we crossed the continent by wagon train. Yeah. Now, it was in the spring of 1849, and it was a hot, exhausting, brutal trip. Well, fortunately, I had the luxury of riding in a wagon much of the way, but unfortunately, I had gotten injured and I could hardly walk. So, Amanade, who was a Parisian socialite unaccustomed to manual labor, she had to take over my duty of driving the oxen team. She walked the last 800 dusty miles to California, and she took care of everything. And at the end of the trip, well, she was as good as any veteran teamster. Well, thanks to her, we arrived in Hangtown in the best of health and spirits. Well, our wagon trip was both dangerous and deadly. For over 1,000 miles, the trail was littered with countless graves of hopeful immigrants who died from disease and accidents. The worst of these diseases was cholera. It was a ruthless, swift killer. Why, you could wake in good spirits for breakfast, be in deep agony by lunch, and then dead by dinner. Well, although I am a doctor, I came here to get my share of the gold. Well, as you probably know, I wasn't the only one. By 1849, 40,000 miners were working the diggings here around El Dorado County. Amanade was one of only 150 women in the county. Well, we built a log cabin near my mining claim along Hangtown Creek, but like most 49ers, we didn't get rich. Well, the money from my doctorate kept us comfortable, but we reckoned that we could earn a better living by mining the miners. So we opened a store on Main Street, Kunkler's Grocery. It's right across from where Placerville Hardware is today. Yeah. Well, I was one of only 6 doctors in town then, and the army of tin horn miners gave me countless opportunities to practice my medical skills. Bullet wounds, mule kicks, scurvy, malaria, broken bones. I saw every conceivable malady. And the worst of these, like I said, was cholera. Now, cholera is caused by a lack of clean water and poor sanitation. So, Hangtown's deadly cholera outbreak arrived in October of 1850, and it spread like a deadly wildfire. Now, it had come up from Sacramento, where 1,000 people died in the first 3 weeks of the outbreak, and 1,000 more grew deadly ill. Now here, the carnage was devastating, and there was very little I could do to ease the suffering. 700 people died in the first 2 months. And then, in December of 1850, like a miracle, the epidemic disappeared, just as suddenly as it had appeared. Well, I shared many of my medical discoveries with fellow doctors. I regularly wrote articles for the California Medical Journal, and I gained international notoriety as a cholera expert in 1860 when I published a series of medical reports documenting my cholera discoveries. Well, over the next few years, I ran the store, I continued my medical practice, and I Oh, I invested in a lumber mill just outside of town. Most of the product was shipped down to Sacramento, which was growing like a weed. Amanade passed away in 1855, and she's buried just over there, along with my son John and his wife Laura. Now, John had become a doctor, and he had a thriving practice in San Francisco, but he maintained his ties to Placerville. He helped to organize fundraisers for local fire brigades. Eventually, I remarried to a lady named Selena. And when I passed away, it was reported that Selena had gone insane. She had to be institutionalized. I don't know where she's buried, however. Well, I died unexpectedly in my home from a heart condition in January of 1881. My Mountain Democrat obituary said that people of Placerville held me in highest regard, both as a doctor and member of the community. And it described me as quiet, affable, and approachable. And it said that I was unassuming and unobtrusive. Well, although I never realized my dream of riches, I must state, I grew rich beyond my wildest dreams by being part of Placerville and El Dorado County's amazing early history. Well, that's my story. Thank you very much for listening.